And your name, please?
I am PJ Shomo, or Paul Shomo.
So, Paul and Paul, but yeah, PJ,
Paul
maybe
yep.
Familiarize yourself with the story. What is the story you want people to know?
It's amazing when your community comes together to support you. We were just talking about it on the way in. We were in a small community when we found out he had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
At work, they raised almost $1,000 for me.
Yeah. Amazing. Where do you work?
This was when we lived in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
It was I worked for the county, the Tioga County, just a real small area.
Mm-hmm. And go into a little bit about your journey and how it's affected you?
There's a constant reminder of it. I was left with chronic pain from it. It's a constant reminder of what happened and what can happen.
Yeah.
Reminds me to live life completely, not just hope for the best. To just live life like it could be your last day, because it can be.
Yeah. How old were you when you first went through this?
I knew they were going to ask that.
13.
13.
12 or 13.
13.
Yeah.
If I may, did the news hit you harder than you think it did your parents, or?
I think it hit them a lot harder.
I don't know. When I told you worst case scenario, you might lose your arm, and ask you if you wanted a Captain Hook, you didn't find that funny.
This is how The Walking Dead starts.
Yeah.
Always somebody.
It hit them a lot harder. I know it did, because at that point, when you're 12, you don't really think, that this could have been it. I could have lost my arm. I could have lost.
You had to play the strong face for the family.
But we weren't sure when they did the removal in the hometown we were in, and we had to get down to Children's Hospital for the follow-up. It was put off for 10, 11 months before I kept begging them to take this lump off his arm, and they refused to do it. They said, nobody's going to cut a kid's arm up. There's too much damage it could be.
You mentioned, having a community, having the doctors. What are some other things that people don't recognize as maybe they take for granted? What are the supports that are helpful?
I would say just people checking in, making sure everything's going okay. I know one of the commissioners, when I worked at the county, he was an older gentleman, and back in the day, they weren't comfortable talking to women too much. And then one day I said to him, hey, do you want to see a picture of my son's arm from this when he had his surgery?
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's kind of disgusting. It's, cut open a big hole. He goes, I would love to see it. So then after that, he'd stop me every week and say, do you have any new pictures? And then when he finally got to meet PJ, what did he do? He gave you a silver Morgan dollar?
Morgan silver dollar.
Yeah, silver Morgan.
And, so you were 12, 13 at that time?
Yeah.
How old are you right now?
17.
17. So how's the last, 3-4 years now?
It's
Still pain.
It's still pain. During the surgery, a nerve got severed, and now up until recently, I felt constant nerve pain, burning in my hand. But we recently just found a lidocaine cream that takes that away.
MRIs and stuff, and he had a bad MRI. What was it, 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
So he's been he was doing every 6 months, every 3 to 4 months at oncology, getting these really detailed ultrasounds. But since we moved here, he doesn't see oncology till July, so.
Yeah.
But it's always that
Fear.
Yeah.
You're in high school right now? Are you graduating?
I'm a junior.
Junior?
Ah.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in school.
I'm in the LTCC for the beginning of the day for computer repair.
And
And I,
apparently Mr. Banjo manned a few people.
Mr. Banjo. Oh, I did bring a banjo in once. Okay.
That's a hick stick.
Yeah.
That's great. So you're in the tech center taking computer repair. What do you find your future? What do you see your future as?
I see two possibilities at this point. I see a game commission, game warden, or high school teacher.
What do you want to teach?
It was scary. It got to the point where it was scary on each trip.
I still have trouble going into a hospispittal.
I wouldn't blame